Well, just that you need enough players, and also that you have limits at certain positions that you have to have.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You're live.
28 minutes past the hour. For the next 20 minutes or so, fire away your fantasy football questions at the Good Doctor. Dr. Roto of Sports Illustrated. Follow him on Twitter at Dr. Roto, DRROTO. Chime in via the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line. You can send your questions there at 479-5551, 479-5551. You can send them at the David Moulton at that Mark Miller on Twitter, or if you are watching on Twitch, just submit your question into the Twitch chat room. Dr. Roto, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Strange not to have any Thursday night games, but I'm not a big fan of Thursday night games, so I think I'm okay with it.
We weren't either as collectively as a group. Half of us now are really into Thursday night football because, well, it pays. I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
David's into Thursday night football because he works Thursday night football.
Although, Doc, to be honest with you, 5 o'clock on Monday is fine for Thursday night football also. If we want to do a twilight doubleheader on Monday, I'm good with that too. If we want to eliminate Thursday
I love the double Monday games. I think a lot of people do. That first week of the season, isn't that a great night? So, they want to do a little twilight doubleheader. I love those too. I think that's a revelation for the NFL.
All right, Doc, as you like to say, if you pick this guy, you're going to be my rich friend. So help people be your rich friend. First question today is T.Y. Hilton or Cooks? Who you starting?
Well, the problem is this with T.Y. Hilton. When the Colts are winning, they barely throw the ball. When the Colts were losing like last week, Hilton was used extensively. They're not going to be losing to Cincinnati, who's got a ton of issues on the defensive line. This is going to be a Jonathan Taylor love fest. So I don't think this is a big Hilton week. That said, you're going back to the Cooks. Well, good luck with that. You have a better chance of catching a pig in the air. So I think I'm leaning Cooks because Tennessee's secondary is weak. But and I'm not loving either of them this week.
I think that was probably the biggest surprise on Tuesday was how well the Titans secondary held up and forcing 3 turnovers, as the case may be. Swoop submitted this question in our Twitch chat room: Zach Ertz or Robert Tonyan?
Zach Ertz just looks off. He looks slow. He looks disinterested. He's pulling the anti-Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell was unhappy, and he was just letting everybody know it. He was like reliking things, retweeting things. I hate Adam Gase fan club. I think Ertz is equally as miserable. He's just doing it with more class because there's no way the Eagles are bringing him back next year. That said, how are you not playing Robert Tonyan? Look, Lazard is still out. Devontae Adams is back, so Devontae Adams is going to get about 11 targets per game. That's fact. But Tonyan looks good, and more importantly, Aaron Rodgers likes him. So if Aaron Rodgers likes you, you're going to see the football.
I was going to answer this for you because I think you answered this question on Tuesday in our Twitch hour when we go through waivers. But this person says, lost Dak. Do I pick up Dalton, Minshew, or Cousins? I'm pretty sure the answer is Dalton because I thought on Tuesday you said he's a top 10 quarterback on this team, but I'll let the good doctor answer it for us.
Well, look, so the answer to this question is twofold. For this week, I like all 3. I think all 3 have great matchups. Cousins, it doesn't get any better than him playing against the Falcons, and Minshew's playing the Lions. So if you're looking for a 1-week hit, you can pick any of the 3. If you're looking for the entire season, I would pick Dalton because he has better weapons, and Cousins is on bye next week.
Would you do anything with Le'Veon Bell anticipating where it is that he could end up?
Look, I think there are a lot of potential spots for him. I really do. Why couldn't he go to the Chicago Bears? The Bears have David Montgomery and nobody else. There are places where maybe the Patriots, who knows?
That's been my pick, Doc. I'm with you there. Patriots is what I've been thinking.
Well,
yeah, look, Damian Harris is pretty special. Don't kid yourself, but they have so many guys there, so they need another one. There is a spot. The problem was nobody wanted to pay his exorbitant contract. So you wait for him to go. It was the same thing with Fournette. You wait for him to go on waivers. You get him on the cheap. His agent will get him a deal for $2.5 million somewhere. He'll sign. The question is where. I'm not dropping him yet.
I'm telling you, Pittsburgh or Miami.
And I name the bet on Pittsburgh, David. I keep saying, I know you are. When you and I have been arguing on this all week, I will be shocked if that happens. I'd love you to be right because it would be fun, but I just have such trouble thinking that they would bring back a guy that did it there. They give second
I don't know
chances.
why would you bring him back if you have James Conner and Snell has looked good. I don't know that one. I mean, I like the whole movie of the week feeling of it, but I don't know if it's a fit.
Well,
right.
see, I think they're both backup tailbacks, though. That's why I don't think they're number ones. This is a team trying to win a Super Bowl. I think you need to do better than that, but that's a me thing.
And
you think Connor? You think Connor's a backup?
Yes.
Both.
Wow.
Neither of us think he's a legit number one running back. I will say we've been in agreement on that lockstep for a season and a half. The story's great. He's a wonderful person. I don't think he's a premier back in today's football. And
you think Le'Veon Bell still is?
Well, that's just it. That would be the great unknown. He showed up his first year with the Jets. He was clearly out of shape. This year he was in shape, but he was clearly not used. And so that's the great unknown. But you mentioned Chicago. Miami's a team that could use a running back. Jordan Howard's been a huge disappointment. The list goes on. Let's get to the questions.
All right. Start 2 in a full PPR. So you're sitting 1, basically, Doc. DJ Moore, Kenny Golladay, and Cooper Kupp. Who sits?
Well, you're not sitting Kenny Golladay against Jacksonville, that's for sure. That's a really good matchup. The other one, that's a tough one. Now, I don't like sitting DJ Moore. I really don't. But the truth of the matter is that the Chicago Bears defense is a little stingy and they don't let up a lot of big plays there. So I think the Panthers will struggle a little bit this week. I still think they win, the more talented team. But do I think that DJ Moore is going to go off for 90 yards and a touchdown? I'm not sure. So I think I'm playing Cooper Kupp because we saw what San Francisco's defense a little decimated right now. Hard to sit him.
Joe Psychotic in our Twitch chat room, a flex decision, no PPR, amongst Tyler Boyd, Justin Jefferson, or Alexander Madison.
Well, you're going to play one of the Vikings. And, Mark always asks me, who's my sleeper pick of the week? It's Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's the Brandon Cooks of this week, right? He was the guy that everybody played last week. He totally disappointed. Now you go back to him because he's playing the Falcons, and the Falcons stink. But that said, if I'm looking for a touchdown, I think because Joe Psychotic is in a standard league, and, he wants the touchdowns, Madison is in the best spot he's ever going to be in. Playing the Falcons should be a high-scoring game. Dalvin Cook is out. Mike Boone's a nice enough guy, but, Madison is going to get the goal line carries. I think he's your better chance for a score.
PPR flex, Devin Singletary or Joe Mixon?
I guess Singletary. Zach Moss hasn't been ready. We thought he was going to come back, but he still hasn't come back, so it's a little concerning yet. And when he comes back, how many carries he's going to get? The Chiefs are a little soft in the middle there. But Mixon I like, but man, that's a bad matchup. Nobody is running against the Colts. Nobody. And as much as I like Mixon out of the backfield, the Colts defense is legit. So, Mixon's got all the makings of like 50 yards rushing this week and maybe 30 receiving. That's not special.
479-5551. Text in your questions on the Williamson Brothers Marine and Roofing text line, 479-5551, or submit them in the Twitch chat room as Kyle4335 did. He wants to know, is Stephon Diggs and Chase Claypool for Michael Thomas a good trade?
It's a pretty good trade. Diggs is a top 10 receiver. I think that's true. And I think if the guy who has Thomas is desperate and he sees what he's reading about Michael Thomas being unhappy, things aren't going well in the Saints, Drew Brees is 103, Claypool looks really good. You can make that. I don't think I'd do that up on the Thomas, guy who rosters Thomas, but I think it's not an unfair offer.
This person's asking for a streaming tight end. They have Hunter Henry on a bye. He's talking about Trey Burton for a week, or is there another streaming tight end that he could try?
Well, look, Trey Burton was involved because they were behind last week. And it was interesting because between Mo Alley-Cox and Jack Doyle and Trey Burton, who were they using in that offense? They were using Trey Burton. And Frank Reich has been saying all the right things about Burton, who I liked when he was with the Bears. Right? He got injured. He's had problems with injuries, but he's been interesting. I think I would look at two other guys. I would look at Cameron Brate, who I think is just a very smart ball player who's always in the right spot, who's probably good for 3 for 40 every week. I would also take a look at Irv Smith. I mean, they finally freed Irv Smith last week. They finally incorporated him in the offense, and he looked pretty good. And this week he gets the Falcons, and we all could look against Falcons. So I might look to Irv this week as well.
Another question involving running backs. It says, can Davis and McCaffrey both be viable starters in PPR leagues going forward?
No, but look, here's what we learned. We learned that Mike Davis is a really good running back. We learned that they're not rushing Christian McCaffrey back anytime soon because Mike Davis can certainly do the job. So you're going to wait till Christian McCaffrey is not 100%, he's 110%, because why bring him back when Mike Davis has looked like this? I think when McCaffrey is fully healthy, Davis, in my mind, has earned himself 5 to 8 touches a game. Maybe he'll get a series here, a series there. Maybe they're on the goal line. They'll bring him in. I think he's earned himself a role. That said, he is Christian McCaffrey. He's going to get 25 touches a game. That's fact.
Would you play Vikings against the Falcons over Dolphins against the Jets in terms of loading up and stacking players?
I think so. I'll say it this way: they're both chalky games. So if you're playing cash games on DFS, they're both those are the chalky games. So you're going to have to find leverage plays, which is, you and everybody else is going to have Alexander Madison. You and everybody else is going to have Devontae Parker. So, when those guys are going to be like 30% owned in leagues, it's hard to differentiate your roster. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use them. I'm just saying that you may want to differentiate your roster elsewhere. So, for example, in the Miami game, maybe you're on Preston Wilson. Maybe you're on, Preston Williams. Maybe you're on Mike Gesicki. In the Viking game, maybe you're on Irv Smith. You can't be on the same people that everybody else is because you won't win a lot of money that way.
Speaking of Gesicki or Brate? Full PPR.
Yeah, I mean, look, Gesicki is a better player. I mean, I do like Cameron Brate, and I think Cameron Brate showed you exactly who he is last week. And Tom Brady's going to enjoy throwing to him because unlike Ronald Jones, Cameron Brate can catch the football.
By the way, breaking from Adam Schefter, Falcons are shutting down their facility after multiple positive tests, sources tell ESPN. This was from 1 minute ago.
Yikes.
So
I guess that game looks like a Tuesday nighter at this point.
But I'm just saying, just shutting it down. They could simply shut it down for a day or two. You're right. Now, they already have 2 games on Monday. So you figure if the game doesn't take place on Sunday, it would be pushed to Tuesday. But just throwing that out there, that, COVID.
DFS wise, that's a big change because that game was going to be the number 1 most played game on DFS for sure. So now if that goes Tuesday night, and I tell you, and look, I am Dr. Roto. And I did not start any of my Titans or Bills this week, and I'm regretting it because I lost. I can't tell you how many leagues I lost for not playing Derrick Henry and AJ Brown this week because I was worried that game was going to get shut down to the last second.
I'm totally with you, and I mean, I got lucky in one, and I had AJ Brown on my bench, but I was going to ask you that question, Doc. How the hell in season leagues? I get it. DFS doesn't matter because it's just Sunday games, and then if you want to play a little Tuesday thing on your own, you can. But for team leagues, how the hell do you do Tuesdays, Doc? I need a prescription for Tuesday night football.
Look, here's my newest prescription, okay? I just read the medical journal, and so here I have it for you. What I would tell you is that I don't ever want to play conservatively again, okay? And that's what I did this week. I was playing guys who I didn't feel comfortable with, because I was scared. I played scared fantasy football because I was worried about COVID and getting the goose egg. But I knew the Titans-Bill matchup was a glorious matchup for my players. I mean, I thought there was a real great chance that A.J. Brown was going to play. So I think I have to risk it for the biscuit because if they play, which they did, I lost 4 or 5 contests because I didn't play my guys. So I've got to play my guys. I can't play conservatively. If I get the goose egg, I get the goose egg, but I have to try to win. I can't play not to lose.
He is full of them this morning.
I know.
Biscuit line, and we did have a texter said, catching a pig in the air. Can I borrow that? I think once you get it out on the air, you can borrow anything, whether it's are you jerking my bobber or are you catching a pig in the air, David? I don't think it matters, does it?
I'll tell you what, it could end up on a T-shirt, Doc. Risk it for the biscuit. Titanium Tortuga in the Twitch chat room loves it. Loves it. Also in the Twitch chat room, LFO chimed in with, do I start or sit DJ Shark?
Ooh, yeah. Right now, Chark and Chenault are very questionable. I would think Chenault is going to play. He's had the same hamstring injury now for a couple of weeks. What they've done very smartly is not played him until like Friday. Chark, on the other hand, left the game toward the end of that fourth quarter. He's had a problem with injuries all season. This kid Colin Johnson from Texas looked good. Keelan Cole is there. I don't know about Chark. I think just watch it very carefully. I have a sinking feeling that he may miss this week, but I can't confirm that yet.
479-5551. Any last minute questions for Dr. Roto of Sports Illustrated? You can also follow him on Twitter at DRROTO. So is that the big lesson that you've now taken from the first 5 weeks of this season, dealing with COVID? And, we've yet to have a game pushed back so that we're going to have to add weeks to the schedule. But is that your big lesson that and you're an expert at this, all right, that you've learned? You're like, you know what? I can't play scared because of COVID. I just need to let it ride.
Yeah. I mean, look, I look like a genius if that game doesn't play. But at the same time, I look like an idiot when it does. And I think, any sport, I mean, I've coached sports for years and you watch sports. When you play not to lose, that's when you lose. You have to go out. You have to go and try your best. You go for the win, right? You go for the W every time. And that's my newest approach. And I think, it was always been my approach, right? It's always been the upside approach. But I've been conservative this year because of the pandemic, because in 2 seconds, they can shut that game down. All it takes is one assistant water boy to get COVID, and that whole game is shut down. And COVID spreads like wildfire. So it's I get why people are being conservative. I get why leagues are changing rules, even though I don't like these rule changes at all, by the way. I mean, I'm playing a league that did it, and the first thing I said was, I hate this. Another league sent an email out, should we do it? And I said, you can't change rules in the middle of the season. But that said, I'm not playing scared fantasy football anymore.
There is your prescription from the good doctor. He is with us every Thursday to help set your lineup, and he joins us in our bonus Twitch hour every Tuesday to deal with the waiver wires and Tuesday Night Football, because that seems to be something we're going to get a hell of a lot more of. Doc, have a great day. Good luck this weekend, and we'll chat again on Tuesday.
All right, guys. Take care now.
Dr. Roto of Sports Illustrated. Follow him on Twitter at Dr. Roto, DRROTO. We do a bonus Twitch hour every day, if you don't already know that, from 9 to 10 a.m. And he joins us on Tuesdays to go through potential waiver wire and acquisitions and all that. And then obviously we bring him on every Thursday at this hour as the week is usually locked in. No Thursday Night Football this week because the Bills-Chiefs game is pushed to Monday at 5 o'clock. Because the Tennessee-Buffalo game got pushed to last Tuesday. And if you just missed it, the Atlanta Falcons are shutting down their team facility because apparently they have a bunch of positive COVID tests that have come back. Atlanta's scheduled to visit the Vikings this week, which also, Mark, we go back to how big that Sunday night game was for Minnesota. They dominated Seattle. Russell Wilson steals one on them. They win that game. They're 2-3. They're hosting the winless Falcons. I mean, you want to talk about being a play away from being right back in this season. The Vikings were right there.
No doubt. No doubt. After getting a nice win in Houston to get off this donut in front, could have 2, but now it's a big chase because when you look right now, the 6 seeds in both the NFC and the AFC have 1 loss next to them. So it is a lot more difficult. There seems to be a lot more halves, at least at the moment, in both the AFC and the NFC.
Now, fortunately, this year we do have 7 seeds. Remember, 7 playoff teams from each conference. But Mark pointing out that right now everybody seems to be just fighting for the last spot. That right now there are very good records in both conferences. The 5 and 6 seeds in both conferences are teams that are 4-0.